what it do? Hello, everyone. Had to come in with a little inspiration. Welcome to Point Blank Experience. I am your host that does the most sometimes. It's your boy Rod, and I want to welcome you to Experience with Rod. Tonight, I am blessed and honored to have a special guest here, a young lady that I virtually came across about 3 years ago. I want to say it was on probably CJ and Sharice's channel. I've always had a lot of respect for her, what she stood for, how she carried herself. And this was via seeing her in comments, seeing her on a couple of different panels and watching her videos. So it was always an honor to have her on YouTube. And then when I was doing my research, I was like, yo, man, Tag has a lot of content out there that I didn't even know. And tonight's guest is TAGforShort. I'm going to let her tell you how she came up with the name. I'm pretty sure a lot of you may already know. I see we have 11 real homies in the crib. And I want to thank each and every one of y'all for being here. I'm going to say hello to some people. I think my guest may have had a connection issue because she was here, now she's gone. But anyway, I want to see who all we got in here. We got the Nichols. Let me go up here real quick. We got Your Favorite Couple. What's going on? We got Just Asking for a Friend, the recent YouTube phenomenon with a video she dropped with about 20,000 views and 1,000 subscribers. Let's see who else we got here. We got Tag in the building. We got Point Blank Experience in the building. And let's see here. Big Rick is in the house. You got, and I already said, Your Favorite Couple. So with that being said, I'm going to go over a couple of things that I came across while researching Tag. Like I said, she has 761 videos. She has things from vlogs, mukbangs, food prep, meal prep, cooking videos, some singing. She does writing. She is a phenomenal individual. And I tell you, man, like I said, it's been about 3 years since I've been trying to get her on the live stream. And tonight is the night. And I think she's back. And I think we're doing a little technical stuff backstage. So, all right, there we go. And let me pull my stuff up here. If y'all have any questions for our guests, please, you can put a cube before the question, an emoji, just something where to stand out for me so I can see it. And I could tell you, when I do my interviews, I do my research, and there was a lot to Tag. There was a lot to how she does things, her thought process. And I just can't wait. And without any further ado, man, let me go ahead and bring her in. How you doing, Miss Poetic Tears? How you doing, Sassy? I spoke to everyone else. Without any further ado, I'm going to go ahead and bring up the woman of the, however long we be on here now, it won't be no more than an hour and a half. So what is going on, Tag? How you doing?
Hey, how's it going?
Oh, man, I'm all right now. You scared me. I was like, oh,
no. And then all of a sudden it just like cut off. And I'm like, oh, what happened? So,
wow. Mm-hmm. Wow. Well, welcome to Point Blank Experience. It is an honor and a pleasure to have you here. I was telling her backstage, everyone, excuse me, I actually had sent her a message on IG a few months ago, and she went live about a week ago. And I said, this is it, man. I have to ask right now. So during her live, and that's kind of risky. She said, yes. So here we are today. And Tag, would you go ahead and tell everyone a little bit about yourself? I have several questions, but just a little bit about who is Tag. I'm going to stay right here. We're going to just do it together.
So my name is Talia. I go by TAGforShort. Tag are my initials, and so that's where Tag came from. So Talia, TAGforShort. And so I grew up in Hobbs, New Mexico, small town, right next to Texas. It's funny because I always have to tell some people that it's a state and not a country. But that's where I grew up, born and raised. My parents are still there, older sister, brother, nieces, nephews. And I lived in Las Vegas, Nevada for 9 years before moving here to Texas in 2015. So I've been here over 10 years now. So this has become home, but that's a little bit about me.
Okay. And, you know, I didn't know. I knew Tag. I had heard she was in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, which is where I live. And we don't live, we are close proximity of one another. And I was watching one of your videos and I saw you go to the Highlands and I was like, wow, man, you know, because I do that quite frequently. So now the first question you said you grew up in Hobbs in Mexico, then you went to Vegas, then you ended up in Texas. What was life like growing up for Tag? What was it like?
Well, growing up for me, first of all, my dad is a pastor and became a pastor when I was 6. So I'm a preacher's kid. So I spent a lot of time in church singing with my sisters and all of that stuff. So there was that part. Also, my hometown is kind of like a tight knit as far as like sports and all of that stuff. So
Mhm.
that was always a big deal. Like I came come from a big sports family, especially on my mom's side, and all of that. Um, but yeah, I was kind of a quiet kid, especially in elementary school, and all of that. Just kind of a little more shy with people outside of the house, but very outgoing and talkative with my siblings and stuff like that. But yeah, I had a good childhood for the most part. Like I played outside, like we were outside riding bikes, roughhousing
Mhm.
outside, and all of those things. It's funny because people meet me and they'll. There was this one lady. She was like, "I bet when you were little, you probably didn't want to get your hands dirty." I said, "What?" I said, "You definitely don't know me because we were outside playing in the dirt, running around, riding bikes, staying outside till the street lights came on, all that stuff." And so just a pretty good childhood. I like people are usually surprised when I tell them I'll be 44 in July. And so like I grew up when cell phones were just becoming a thing. Like I remember
Mhm.
when there were no cell phones. I remember my dad had the first big cell phone that looked like a walkie-talkie.
Yeah.
Um, and so, like computers were kind of transforming. We still had the big old computers that were very robotic.
Mhm.
And so I still have that background. So I feel like just my childhood has kind of kept me humble because I
Mhm.
remember all that too before social media and all of that. Because I was in college when Facebook became a thing. So, yeah.
You know, I'm a firm believer a man does not ask a woman their age. And I've often wondered, I was like, man, not wonder, but just like she looks so young. I mean, they
Yeah.
always say black don't crack, but then probably about 20 minutes before this live, I came across a video and I calculated the age, but I wasn't gonna say anything.
Hmm.
It was
Yeah.
your 40th birthday, and it was a couple years ago. And I'm like, no. I had to put my glasses on. I'm like, this can't be right. So
Hmm.
you definitely were well. So you mentioned that you had siblings. Were you like the oldest, the youngest, somewhere in the middle, or?
Youngest of four. Older sister Latanya. After that, well, she's the oldest, and then about 6 years later, my parents had my brother Rashawn, and then about 2.5 years later, they had my sister Latasha, and then me. So I'm the youngest. 3 girls and 1 boy.
Okay. Man, I bet he had it rough, huh?
Well, he was the handful. He still gives my parents. He's still the headache of the family. Like we were
Wow.
easy. The girls are easy.
Yeah, I have two daughters. I don't know about that. So they're 10 years apart. So now we do have a quick comment here. Just asking for a friend, Keisha said, my mom had that phone too. It was so big it came with a carrying case.
Yeah.
I had one of
Yep.
those too.
Hmm.
And didn't it have a little antenna on it? Like a
It
little,
had the black antenna at the top. It looked like a
yeah.
walkie-talkie. Hmm. But it was
Yeah, that was crazy. Now, from what I've seen, you've done a lot in life. And we're going to talk about what you do now currently. But before I get there, what do you think has been your biggest accomplishment in life? Just overall, whether no matter big to you, not big to the public, big to Tag. What has been that?
well. I'll say probably two things.
Hmm.
Um, One would be educational wise because I've just always wanted or felt that that was important. Um, I really was a nerd. Like I still consider myself to be a nerd, a
Hmm.
proud one too. But um, I got my master's degree in 2018, so I was very happy about that. My master's in curriculum and instruction. Um, so that was an achievement for me. But also on the music side, I would say in 2019, right before COVID, a friend of mine was asked to put together like a 10-person choir um, because Master P was on tour. It was the How the West Was Won tour, and
Hmm.
he was going to be here in Dallas, and he wanted a choir for one of his songs. And so he called me and a couple of other people, and so we got to go and sing and be a part of that. We had our own dressing room, and it said Masterpiece Choir. We got to be backstage and see all of these different people like Twista and different people that were just backstage, and just be back there like we were a part of it because we were a part of the show. And so that was a cool experience because that just kind of felt like, okay, we were doing something that was kind of on a bigger scale. So that was a fun experience. So I think those are kind of two things for me.
Those are pretty dope. Now, I'm going to jump around in my questions. I do have them in a list, but I like to jump around because a lot of times your answers may lead me to another question. Now, you said your education, and I noticed on one of your videos, you stated that you went to a community college first,
Mm-hmm.
and then you end up going to a four-year university. Do you think there was an advantage to doing it that way, or?
Well, for me, I think it was really important because, well, first of all, my sister Latasha, the one that was just a year and a half,
Mhm.
almost 2 years older than me, passed away 2 days after my high school graduation.
Mhm.
And so I was going through all of that. And so I really feel like community college was better for me to be close to home and be able to focus and all of that, trying to deal with grief. And then also, um, to me, it was financially smart also because it was just kind of a free ride for those first 2 years to just, and then I ended up getting a scholarship so that I could, and I ended up going to Texas Tech
Mhm.
University. And so for me, there was layers to it.
Mhm.
Uh, it wasn't just kind of like one reason of why I did that. But I think just kind of the times that I was going through, that was really important for me.
Cool. And I like how you put that, that stand. I mean, most people would have said, I need to take a break. And that would have been what was be considered normal. You're grieving, you lost your sister, but you made a way. You said, hey, I'm still going to pursue my education, but I'm going to stay close to home, go to community college. And it was cost effective. Then you got a scholarship. So it just all worked out the way it was supposed to, or the way it should have. And the reason I asked that question, because I tell a lot of young people when I was in the workforce, they would ask me, hey, you have a degree. What do you think? What would be my best path? And I said, I went to a community college for 2 years. It was cheap. And then I went to a four-year university, same way you did it. And being in the military, I didn't pay for any of that. I mean, I paid a couple, like $18 a class or something like that when I went to community college for a 3 credit course. So now you've accomplished a lot, and you're still very young. Do you have any regrets in life, things you haven't done yet, or things that maybe you've done and you wish you could have done differently? Or
Um, the one thing I wish I would have done was travel abroad more when I was younger, because that's something that I still want to do, and I plan to do. But I feel like that was something that I wanted to do but didn't. Maybe had
mm,
more about a fear of doing it by myself. And so that was one thing. I think as far as everything else, I don't really have any regrets. It's funny because with me being 44, I've never been married and I don't have any children. But my priority was always a bit different. Like I really wanted
mhm,
to pursue an education. I wanted to pursue things that I wanted to do. I think I
mhm,
said this in my live.
mhm,
One of the reasons, and it's something I thought about later, I didn't really grow up thinking about it, but as I've gotten older, just kind of reflecting, I really feel like because I saw my mom sacrifice a lot of the things she wanted to do, which I
mhm.
do appreciate her being very active in our schools and stuff like that. I still feel like there's a part of her that has some regret of not being able to do some of the things she wanted to do. And so I didn't want to do that. So for me, that was a different priority. So I think it's not so much a regret. I just think my next chapter, I would like to settle down, if that makes sense.
Yes, it
But I
makes
don't,
total
I don't
sense.
regret doing it earlier. I don't think I would have been ready for that.
I asked that question because a lot of times people look back, and I've done it, and they say, "Man, I wish I would have. I wish I would have," and they kind of build this sense of regret. But as I look back on my life, things happen the way they were supposed to happen. I
Mm-hmm.
don't like some of the decisions I made, but I learned from those decisions that I made. I learned maybe the hard way sometimes it wasn't so tough. So I asked that question because I rarely hear anyone say yeah. I mean, it's probably about 30% people say yeah, and 70% say no. I mean, it happened the way it should have. And I want to welcome Nichols Journeys Extra, your favorite couple who's actually in Spain right now. No, I think they're in France.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So speaking of France and all that good stuff, and you mentioned travel, and you didn't want to travel alone, and I can understand that. If you could go anywhere in the world right now for 7 days, all the expenses paid, where would you go?
Probably Kenya. Like right now,
Right now,
seven
to
Kenya.
tomorrow
Yeah.
morning, you could go Kenya.
Yeah. I've always kind of been fascinated. A couple years ago when I lived in Las Vegas, I think I was in Walgreens or CVS or something. I was standing in line and there was a lady behind me and she just started kind of talking to me because we were waiting for a while. And she asked me where I was from because people always think I'm from somewhere and
Mm.
they'll try to guess like, what country are you from? Even in college, the kids that were like Nigerian would tell me I was Nigerian. Then other people would tell me I was from Ghana. I'm like, I grew up in the United States in Hobbs, New Mexico. I cannot tell you where I'm from. I promise I'm not denying my heritage. I really don't know. That's something I need to do some research on. But they would always try to tell me. So she was asking me like where I was from. So I told her, and then she told me she was from Kenya. And we just started talking about it. And she was like, she's trying to work her way back there to live. And she was having some kind of just family or like kind of financial circumstances that were stopping her from being able to go back. But she was just saying like people just have it confused because of the way Africa is presented to the world. She was like, Kenya is beautiful. And she said that one of the things here in America, a lot of people call themselves homeowners. And that's one of the reasons why I call myself a home buyer. I don't really call myself a homeowner after
Ooh,
having that conversation with her, because she said a lot of people in the US call yourselves homeowners, but you don't own it yet. She said in Kenya, if someone says they are a homeowner, they own the house, they own the land, they own it.
wow.
And so we were kind of having those conversations. And ever since then, I've been kind of fascinated. That's one of the places that I would definitely go in a heartbeat.
Man, I went to an appointment last week, and my daughter actually did one of those ancestry.com, my youngest daughter, and she traced our roots back to West Africa. And I told the young lady that was assisting me that day, and she said she was from Nigeria. And she said, looking at you, you're Nigerian. I have Nigerian blood or whatever. I was like, wow. So all week I've been saying, I ain't been telling anyone that, but it's like, man, then it built that curiosity, like maybe I should go back and see where my heritage actually take me. I'm not going to be like Alex Haley or anything, but just to hear why people want to travel and where they want to go, I've always found that fascinating. Now, you currently live in the DFW area.
Mm-hmm.
If you had to leave DFW and move to somewhere else in the United States, not abroad,
Mm-hmm.
where would you go and why?
Ooh, so it's interesting. I used to say that I wanted to retire on the West Coast, and I was dead set on like San Diego. Now, mind you, it's expensive. There's state taxes, all those other things. But I was like, that's where I want to. I love San Diego. I think it's calm compared to the rest of like LA and those areas that are more like busy. It's busy, but it's more calm than LA. And so that like anytime I've gone to San Diego, I'm like, I love it here. But then my job, I ended up going to the East Coast, and I was all like in the New England area and all up in there, Connecticut, New Hampshire, all those different places. And I was like, oh my goodness, it's beautiful on the East Coast. So I probably would lean more towards the East Coast, but not that far north. I don't think I can handle the cold.
Mhm.
So probably more south, like North Carolina, that way.
Wow.
Yeah.
I've never been I keep hearing North Carolina pop up, and I really want to visit there. I lived in San Diego for 17 years, and you're right. It's a beautiful place. It is calm. You almost don't even feel like you're in California. It's what I like about it is it's kind of like a melting pot because the
Mm-hmm.
military is there. You have the Marines, the Navy, so you
Yeah.
have different people from different areas that make up the population of that city. But that though that the cost of living out there is high.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so Now, I do see a comment here from just asking for a friend said we can never own the land because we still have to pay taxes even if it
Yep.
is fully paid for.
Yeah.
Don't believe. I think that we missed a payment. She probably corrected it. And then Robin the Garden said, I agree, just asking, but a mortgage may be better than renting depending on your situation. And I like how Tag put that. She said home buyer versus home owner, you know.
Mhm.
So, and then, one thing I look at, I'm not going to get all into that, but how many people actually, 30 years, that's a long time. I think a lot of people are trying to move to 15-year mortgages, but that can't stretch the budget as well. All right, so I'm gonna get back in the comments, but next question, Tag, I keep having to unlock my iPad. I don't know why I don't just change this. Now, in a video you did 2 years ago, I don't know if
You
it's
were all
still
up in
going
those
on.
videos.
Huh?
I said you were all up in those videos.
Oh man, you have no idea. I was in them so quick I couldn't even comment. I got to go back and comment and like and all this other stuff because you had a lot and I wasn't expecting it. I'm like, oh my God, man, I would be here all week and I don't even have a week. So, but you said that you back then you had been seeing 11 11 a lot.
Yes.
And it tripped me out because I've been seeing it a lot lately too.
Mhm.
And
But I haven't as recently. It's interesting.
really,
Mhm.
I looked at my phone today yesterday when I heard you say that when I was doing the research. I said, well, it's not 11 11. If that would have happened, I'd have been like, oh man, I'm gonna call her. Let's do this interview right now. We have some good angels going on right now. So I never paid attention to it. And I'll be honest with everyone here. I really never knew. I would see people post pictures and stuff, but I didn't know what it meant. And just asking for a friend, we were getting ready for the classroom, and she kind of told me what it meant. So when you see that was my iPad. Sorry about that. When you see 11 11, you said that right after a health update video. Do you think there was some coincidence that you saw that right after you did that video? If you remember that video or not, or do you think there's a coincidence period or something when we see that on our phone or on the clock or wherever?
Um, I I think so, just because it was happening so much so that I couldn't deny it. It was that noticeable.
Mm,
Um, and so noticeable that now I can see the difference because I'm not seeing it as much now. So I don't know that I still know the reason why I was seeing it so much, and perhaps it could be that I was going through kind of a challenging time. Like last year, I
mhm,
went through a layoff. Maybe I was being reminded that I have angels with me, and like
mm.
who knows, and just kind of different things, maneuvering and life changes and things like that. So maybe it was just a reminder that I had angels with me. I don't know, but yeah, like I don't know that I maybe I'll know in the future like why I was seeing that so much. That's the only thing I can kind of determine right now.
I wonder because I was told a while back if you see a red bird or a cardinal, it's someone watching over you. Then I started seeing them. Then just asking for a friend told me about 11 11. I started seeing it all over the place. And now I'm starting to see Kizzy from the Nichols talk to me about in something in relation to a dove. And there's a dove every couple of days that perches on my little fence in my backyard. I'm like, wow. So I ain't gonna stay on that. I was just wondering though. Now I'm gonna ask you a question. Not that it's ever happened, but when you because everybody like when I see Tag, I just see the same person, always happy. You seem like you never stress. Life is good, but of course you're human. And when things may weigh on you, or you have a situation, is there a go-to person in your life? Is there someone you go to? It could be a sibling, your mother, your father, a coworker. And I've never asked this question. I kind of like this because I had to come up with some new questions today.
Well, I will say I do have two best friends, and it's interesting. They both became best friends in my adult years. There's Latasha in Las Vegas. It's funny, she has the same name as my sister that passed away, but different spelling. But
Mhm.
I met her in 2010 when I lived in Las Vegas. She still lives there in Las Vegas, but we're very, very close friends. And so we talk about everything. I would say if anyone knows more about me, it's probably her. And then my hometown friend Daisy, which is interesting. Uh, Daisy is from Mexico. She came to my hometown in, I think it was fourth grade. She didn't
Mhm.
speak English. We didn't even go to the same elementary school, but her parents ended up buying a home 2 blocks from mine. So she grew up 2 blocks from me. I didn't really know her. And then she ended up coming to my elementary school later because my elementary school went up to sixth grade. And I would see her around, but she was still learning English. So we didn't really communicate. We would just say hi and just be friendly. And
Mhm.
same thing in like junior high and stuff like that. In high school, same thing. When I ended up going to the junior college, we were both in this club, and so we had to take some trips for these different events, and so
Mhm.
we would kind of talk and hang out there, but we never became friends. And then when I moved to Vegas, I came back home for a holiday, and I ran into her in a grocery store, and we started talking, and then we just became like the best of friends. She's been a long time friend since then too.
Mhm.
But if I would say I talk to anybody, it's those two. They probably know the most about me.
Wow.
Yeah, but then also, I'm also for therapy, and I didn't do it when I needed to. Honestly, when my sister passed away, I should have had counseling, all of that. Um, I had that was a struggle, even though I kept going to school, college, jobs, all those things. That was a struggle, and I really should have had a therapist back then. But a couple of years ago, there was stuff going on in my family that was kind of beyond my control, but it was kind of overwhelming me. So I
Mhm.
found somebody to talk to. And so I called her more of a life coach because honestly, she would just ask me questions and let me talk. And a lot of the things that I was figuring out, I was really coming up with. She was just helping me come up with it by asking me the right questions. And so I'm a big proponent of if things get overwhelmed and you don't feel like a family member or a friend can help you, that you can reach out to someone else. And so I tried someone once before that, and I didn't really click with that therapist. And then I found someone that I aligned more with, and she was really helpful. And so I always say, like, if I need to go back or if I need to call back, then I'll do that. So yeah.
It's amazing that you say that because being a male, and I'm not going to get too much into gender, but a lot of men, especially African American men, don't think they need to talk to anyone. You know, and I'm speaking for myself as well.
Mhm.
Actually, I'm speaking only for myself. We we think we know everything, or we're too tough to tell somebody. Maybe we need to talk to somebody. And I had to reschedule a therapy appointment for tomorrow because I double booked, and it's going to be Friday.
Mhm.
And I really believe, like you said, you know, when you lost your sister when she passed, you probably should have been in therapy then. You know, you said, and I know when my mom passed when I was 22, definitely. But a lot of people mix it up. They think, like you said, life coach. They think you have to
Mhm.
have a problem or an issue to talk to a therapist, and sometimes it could be a boost. It could be this little push that you need. At least that's what I'm finding. You know,
Yeah,
so it's
definitely.
amazing that you bring it up. All right, I'm gonna shift gears a little bit here, Tag. I'm gonna shift gears here a little bit. So, are you currently a teacher, right?
Yes.
All right. Did you go to school to be a teacher, or what was your major in college?
So I started off in design. So it was graphic, apparel, design, all of that. That's what my major actually at Texas Tech was, in apparel and manufacturing. I wanted to work in like apparel industry and all of that. We had to do an internship to graduate. And so that summer before I graduated in August of 2006. But
Mhm.
that whole summer we had to finish an internship with an apparel company. And so I ended up doing my internship with a company in Houston.
Mm.
And the lady was an independent apparel company that she ran with her daughter and some other people, just kind of a small scale company. But she had clothing in like stores like J.C. Penney and stuff like that. I ended up working there and kind of learning a lot about just apparel and all that it takes to come up with a brand and the business side, marketing, and all that. She loved my work ethic, and she actually her design assistant was leaving because her husband had gotten a job on the East Coast, and she offered me her position, and I said no because it was interesting because after like working that internship, some of the employees, they would ask me, they would say like, what are you planning to do after this? And they would say, you're so kind to us. Like we would come and work for you if you had like a company yourself. Like some of her people were trying to leave. She was hard to work with, but she kind of had a respect for me. But I noticed how she was with people. And I'm like, I don't want to work under that. That kind of,
Mm-mm.
and they were stressed out. Even her daughter and one of her family friends that worked under her, she said, you would be a fool to join this industry because they were stressed out all the time. And I was like, nobody is happy. And so it just turned me off from that whole industry. And so I ended up going to Las Vegas because my older sister and her husband lived there. And so that's how I ended up in Las Vegas. And she was a teacher. Mind you, when I was in college at Tech, I always worked with kids on the side just to make money. And so I ended up kind of visiting her classrooms and things like that. I went back and took classes at UNLV, and I had to sit in those classes. It's not like it is now where they just put teachers in classrooms. Like I went and I had to go through all the educational classrooms that someone who was getting like a bachelor in education would have to do. And I did all of that student teaching, and I ended up teaching there in Las Vegas for 6 years. And that's how I ended up doing that. So originally, I wanted to be in kind of apparel, kind of design world because it was more of a hobby. I would always sketch and draw and create. But when I realized how it was to do that in a career, I didn't like it. And so that's when I ended up making the shift to education. Yeah.
Wow. And hey, you have a compliment here from Experience with Sassy. She said tag is beautiful.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you, Sassy.
I had to pull that
Hey
one
to
up. And
everybody. I didn't say hi. Hey to everybody.
yeah, hey, in case y'all are just joining us, I am having the honor and pleasure to sit down with TAGforShort. She's been on YouTube for a while, and she has a multitude of content on her channel, about 761 videos. Please go check those out. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't done so. Hit the like button. Tell a friend to tell a friend. You can share it out right now. Hey, it's no charge. It's all free. So, Tag, you being an educator, I like how you made that pivot. You saw something you didn't like. And I know when I was coming up, one of the last things people wanted to do because of the pay was go to college and then be a teacher.
Mm-hmm.
And I may have been one of them,
Yeah.
but now more than ever, children, if you're a teacher, I understand it's more than a job. I mean, they used to, when I joined the Navy, they said it's not just a job, it's an adventure. No, I think that's what teaching is. It's a for real adventure.
Yeah. And a calling.
It when I think about it, I always hear the kids are messed up, they're different. And I heard that when I was a kid. I'm sure my parents heard it when they were a kid. But let's flip the script. What are some of the positive things you see with today's youth as a teacher? I mean, it can't all be bad. You know what I mean?
No, and I'm one to not just focus on that because I know the difference. Especially there were 6 years where I was out of the classroom, where I was coaching teachers, and I got to be at other schools, and I saw the bad and I saw the good. But I will say the majority of teachers at these schools really feel called to teach, and they love being teachers. Some of them may be discouraged because of all the politics that come with it nowadays. But the majority of teachers in these classrooms really love kids. There's a handful that should not be in the classroom. And most of the times when I was on a campus, I could probably pinpoint the few that probably shouldn't be in the classroom. But the majority that I found they really love being teachers. And I would say like the amazing thing about being in schools, especially because my background is elementary. Even though I've been on campuses and supported teachers in higher grade levels, I've taught only elementary. And so I would say the biggest thing is like kids want structure. They want to learn. They don't want chaos. And a lot of times, especially at the elementary level, when they have behaviors, it's because something else is going on. And I think the biggest thing is, if that's not addressed, then we're not going to get anywhere, because there's only so much we can do and control in a school. But if things don't change at home, because we're fighting against communities, we're fighting against kids who are, so I'm working a summer program. I have the summer off, but I'm working a summer program in Fort Worth. So if you're from the Dallas area, you know where Fort Worth is, and they're in a crisis. They've been taken over by the state. Their
Wow.
school district has been taken over by the state for low scores, and their kids, too many kids getting into high school not being able to read. The summer program that I'm working is through the Parks and Recreation Centers in Fort Worth. They're trying to help meet the needs of kids just needing time to read and exposure to reading and writing. I was talking to a little boy that's going to 5th grade, and I said, wow, you only have one more year of elementary and then you're about to be in middle school. And I asked him, how do you feel about it? He said, well, I have to learn how to fight. And I said, why do you have to learn how to fight? He said, because he told me the name of his middle school. And he said, my aunt told me that my middle school is a rough school. And my brother went there and he knows that it's a rough school. And so I need to know how to fight. So we had to have that conversation, and we were talking about it. And I was trying to encourage him and just telling him and asking, well, what are some of the things you like to do? He said, I like soccer. I like football. And he said, I especially like football. I said, well, try to get on your football team and hang out with your football classmates. And I said, focus on the positive, and try to stay away from anybody else that's trying to direct you in a different path. And he was like, well, what if they started? And so we had to have that conversation too, because it's a valid concern. Somebody's trying to come and push you or punch you. Like, what do you do? And so it was just a sad moment for me, because I was like, you should be excited to go to middle school. I got to prepare to fight. And so it's just the reality. And so if that's not addressed, then trying to teach these kids will mean nothing, because they're coming to school not focusing on learning, just survival. So that's kind of what I've noticed when you have those behaviors in elementary. It's coming from a deeper place.
That's what I was going to say. Y'all are not only having to teach and educate our children, but you also, it sounds to me like you also are a therapist. You have to change the mindset of maybe what's taught at home just while they're at school, and that right there, I'm not going to get into pay and all that, but that right there, it speaks volumes. And I think you know where I'm coming from. Y'all are doing more than one job. Let's call a spade, and it's funny that my next question, I'm gonna read it for word, but I don't think I had to worry about the first part. And I said, I don't want to cross any lines, but do you feel like schools are equipped nowadays to be able to recognize kids with special needs, not just children with disabilities, but going beyond that, the mental health issues, the slower at learning, or ADD and ADHD? Like when I was a kid, they used to, if a kid wasn't what they call, I guess, normal, then they were slow. And I never liked that, even when I was a young man or a child. So are schools, obviously Fort Worth may not be, but are schools more equipped or equipped enough to be able to see these things? Or
Well, it really depends on the school. And I will say sometimes it can be bigger than that, because I know there have been times, like, honestly, even when I taught in Las Vegas and when I moved here and I was at the schools in Duncanville, I had really good administrators, the principals. But sometimes they would be fighting this big machine of trying to let people know that this is what these kids need. But there's so many laws and parents that are willing to sue just because they don't want to acknowledge that their kids have some of these things going on, because they see it as, well, like you said, kind of, my child is slow. There's a stigma for some of these parents. And so it's kind of, there's a lot going on that's the reason why some of these kids aren't getting service. The parents have to be on board, the schools have to be paying attention. Um, and it takes both of those things in order for it to work. But also the laws have to be in place to support it now. So, for example, it used to be if if you thought a kid had dyslexia, you could just get them tested for dyslexia. Now, because of laws, you have to have a kid tested for special education as a whole. Even if you just have a concern about dyslexia, they have to be tested for special education as a whole. So they have to go through this whole assessment just to figure out if they're dyslexic, instead of just let's take this assessment for dyslexia. And so it's just a lot of hoops that people have to go through. And unfortunately, sometimes people are like, I don't want to go through all those hoops. So they won't fill out the paperwork for it, which I don't agree with either. But that's just the reality of what's going on in our school.
Well, I'm not going to ask a question. I'm going to make a statement. It sounds like the kids have to do more than learn, and the teachers have to do more than teach when during school, the school hours. And I mean, and that's why I wanted to say, let's talk about something good with the kids, because I couldn't imagine going to school today. It's just too much going on for me. Like I'm talking about, we didn't have middle school. We had elementary, junior high, high school. And I thought it was stressful back then, but now, oh man, like that little kid that I'll probably never forget this interview just because of that story. The kid can't even be happy to go to middle school. They got to think about having to learn how to fight, All right, so we're going to shift gears again, but I still got one more education question right now. We might come back. Do you think there's an emphasis that's put on getting a college degree now like it was, say, 10, 20 years ago? Because I don't seem to hear it a lot. Like,
no, and the good thing about it is a lot of high schools offer trade schools too. So kids who just want to learn a trade, they can be working on that and getting their certification while they're in high school, and oftentimes come out of school being offered jobs and not having to go to college. So I feel like it's more of a balance nowadays, where it's not just a push toward college. It's more so, what are you interested in? What are you good at? And either college is going to be better for you, or trade school, getting a certification is going to be better for you. I think kids definitely have more opportunities where they don't necessarily have to think that college is the way.
Last time I checked, there ain't no college for most of the kids that I asked, hey, what do you want to be when you grow up? And what they want to be, there is no degree for that I know of. And that's, I want to be on Instagram. I want to be on TikTok. I want to be on YouTube. I'm like, really?
Yeah. And what's funny is I'll give them examples. Like sometimes people will shut it down and say, you need to have bigger dreams than that. And I won't shut it down. I'll tell them, I'll say, okay, you want to be this. And I'll mention people like Kai Sanat, people that are streamers or that have made this a career. And I'll tell them how much work it actually takes to make that happen. And so like, we'll talk about it, because regardless, if you want to be a streamer and you want to make the money, you have to have the work ethic, because he can't just sit home and sleep all day. He has to put together the content. He has to get on there and be consistent. You can't be lazy. And so all of these different things, we just talk about their skills that you're going to need to have regardless. I had a little boy that said he wanted to get into coding, and he said he wanted to do like gaming and coding. And I said, well, do you know there's different kinds of coders? I said, my aunt is a medical coder. I said, there's all kinds of coders. I said, but you have to have a certification. He was like, well, I already know how to code. I don't need to go to school. And this is a fourth grader. And I said, yes, you do. I said, you're going to have a certification. And what's funny, there was a teacher that actually was an engineer before she went into teaching. And she did some coding. And so she was explaining, you may not have to go to college, but you have to have some certification to show that you are qualified to do whatever it is. And so it was interesting. We had someone come to our school that works with some of the programs that they offer in high school, and he was talking about coding, and he mentioned some of the certifications that we were telling the student about. And he looked at me and I said, yeah, I told you. I said, you still have to, there's certain things that you're going to still have to do. And so he got it in that moment when he heard someone else say it. And so it was just kind of interesting having those conversations, but we just have to make sure we don't shut kids down. If they have an interest, okay, this is a pathway to get there. This is what it will take. Are you willing to do that work to make it happen?
It's crazy because my degree is in business with a minor in finance.
Mhm.
And that's what I use on YouTube. The marketing that I do, the investment channel that I have was from the finance background. So I'm not going to say I had to have a degree to do it, but it helped a lot. You know,
Yeah.
we do have a question from Miss Cheryl that says, "How can you tell a child is not interested in school but have a trade or inventor, but still is not slow?" I want to make sure. I think what so let's say they're not interested in school, but they have a trade or inventor, but it's still not slow. So they have the mindset and the intellectual fortitude to be a say get good grades, but they're not interested in school. They just want to be a have a trade, maybe work with their hands. Are you? I mean, you still have to go to school. So
The
even
only
if
way
they
to know is to get them involved in what their interest is and see if they progress. Because some of those kids, when they find what they're interested in, they will do whatever it takes because they have an interest. And so you won't know until you expose them to different things. One of the things I love about just kind of how my sister navigated raising my nieces is whenever they had an interest, she would just put them in it. And if they wanted to quit, she would let them quit. And then if they wanted to try something else, she would let them try something else until they figured out what they wanted to do. And both of my nieces, especially the oldest one, she tried different sports. She figured it wasn't for her. And then she just art like just took off. She's amazing. And then when she started learning that, it's just you couldn't get her off of it. She started teaching herself how to animate, teaching herself
mm,
how to do other type of art because she was more of like sketch and stuff like that. And now she can paint and all these different things to the point where her high school teachers were like, we don't know what to teach her. She's better than all of the students already. With the things that we would be teaching her in this class, she's more advanced because she was so interested. She started teaching herself and watching videos and kind of researching. And so you just have to expose them to different things and see what their interests are. And then whatever that ends up being, then making sure you feed it to them as much as possible.
and see, you know what, Tag, if I had my way, which I probably never will in this lifetime, or I mean, it'll take a lot, but I know there's a lot of redundancy when you go to school. I mean, you learn so much English, you learn so much math, history. And I remember, I know school has changed, but I want to say 10th grade, I took geometry. I was never going to be a carpenter or build a house, so I didn't care about that. Then I took chemistry. I wasn't going to be a scientist. And if I had my way, I would maybe incorporate more practical stuff into the school system. I know you have schools of performing arts and all that, but I don't know if I'm sure it's a cost thing because you have to have all these different people that can teach all these different things. And then, like, I know they're computer and computer science, but maybe drill down to Microsoft or Cisco. But, that's big picture stuff. That if I had my way, that's what I would do. So now, about 6 years ago, you may not remember, but don't worry, I'm going to remind you. You did something that I found very interesting called Woman Creative. You remember that?
Well, it's funny because I saw you comment on it, and I was like, "What did I do in that video?" I didn't even get a chance to go back and
Oh,
rewatch
that's
it.
all
I
right.
don't
I'll
even
refresh your memory.
remember.
I'll refresh your memory. That video stuck out to me so much that I wrote this paragraph down. It says, uh, you said, what is a woman creative? Your ideas may change. You can't just be put in a box. You're not just one way, just one type. Things that may look right to other people may not look right to other people, but they look right to you. People have layers to who they are. And you are creative and you are a creator. And that's what you basically said. And that just, I was like, man, maybe I need to have a men's creative because it can apply to anyone. And that's what's wrong. A lot of times, creative people are put in boxes or try to be put in boxes. So, did that help you refresh your memory? Do you still feel like,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah, and honestly, that's been the struggle with YouTube for me because I'm not a one size fits all person. Like I have many talents and things that I'm good at, And I feel like on YouTube, and you could probably relate because having the different channels for the different things that you do, I just was like, that's a lot to manage. I want it all just on one, and that's why you see so much of a difference. But that's just not how YouTube works. And so, like, you do have to have kind of a niche on a channel for it to really take off, because that's just how people operate on YouTube. And so that's been hard for me because I feel like you're putting me in a box when you say I have to do that.
You're right, because a lot of people say, well, why do you have so many channels? Well, I was smart enough to try it on Point Blank Travel at first, investing, and then talk about football. It didn't work. So I was going to split my viewers and subscribers anyway if I'd have kept everything on PBT, or lose or watch the channel go down the hill. So I created the finance channel. Now, this is a catch-all channel, and obviously I'm still trying to get monetized on it because I'm in so many different directions.
Yeah.
And YouTube just really, at the end of the day, who do I push his content out to?
Yeah.
I mean, he's got talk shows. He's talking about mukbanging. Then he's talking to an educator tonight. And then he got a talk show where they talking about babies, mamas, and dramas and all that. So
Yeah.
where do we send this guy's stuff to? And it does. And I said, well, I'll sacrifice this channel because my other ones are direct. And, you know, those boxes that I've been put in, I don't mind because I have a passion for finance.
Yeah.
Now, going back to some of your, and I'm not going, I don't even think I'm gonna worry about any dates, but you did a mukbang that just blew my mind. You cooked some hot fried chicken and some hot fried French fries, like Cheeto hot fries. Yeah.
So I can't take credit for that idea. So there was a YouTube creator, and she changed her name, but she had grown pretty popular. She had, I think, kind of when she kind of stopped doing YouTube, she was over 100K followers on her channel. But her name was Tosh Point Fro. And she had this recipe for hot Cheeto fried chicken strips. And so I was watching her make it, and I said, I'm like, I'm curious what that tastes like. And then I was like, I want some fries. So then I just added the fries in. And that's how that happened from seeing her video, because she did it in an air fryer for the, and then but I ended up, she started off trying, no. So the first one was she did a hot Cheetos fried pickles in the air fryer. And then she did the tenders on the stove. And then I ended up I actually tried both of those. But yeah.
Okay. I was wondering, I said, boy, that was off the chain. Now, we do have a couple comments here. Miss Cheryl said, will that student still pass to the next grade if they, I could tell you, Miss Cheryl, I'm not an educator. I'm going to let Tag answer this. She's the professional. But going back, if a child is not interested in school but have a trade or inventor and it's not slow, will they pass to the next grade? That's basically the question.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they still have to show achievement in their grade level. And it really depends on how that school district operates. I know here in Texas, the goal is not to hold students back. They'll offer like remediation programs and stuff like that to support kids who may be struggling. But they try not to hold kids back because of all of the social issues of kids being older and being in younger grades and having to deal with the emotional issues of that. There are times where I feel like it is appropriate to possibly hold a kid back, but I think if that happens, it should be early, like first grade, when it won't hurt them as much and get older and they're having to deal with the emotional issues of all of it. But it really depends on the school district. And I will say, if you're noticing any concerns and you think that there's some gifts there, ask the school to test them for being gifted. Special education is not just for students who are slow. Special education is also the gifted and talented. Students who think like just outside the box, just completely different. They have high IQs. They may not always perform well academically. Some of them are very high achievers and they do, and some of them don't. And so if you're noticing gifts and things like that, that's another route to go. But I couldn't answer that just kind of as a blanket answer because it depends on the school district.
Yeah, and I would think, you know, they would still have to pass the curriculum to go to the next grade. That's So Rob in the Garden, what up, Rob says, learning how to fight in school pertain more to the location and environment of the school. In Miami back in the early 90s, I not only had to fight, I had to survive the school grounds and neighborhood. And that's typical in a lot
Mhm.
of larger, and even in smaller rural towns. I know I grew up in a population of 6,000 people, and you had to fight at one point, but it probably wasn't as bad as the major cities. Are the schools teaching more about life nowadays? We kind of covered that one. Vicky said, I tried college, didn't work out. I went to a tech school, majored in child development, and graduated from Waycross, Georgia.
Congratulations.
Yeah, congratulations, Vicky, and thank you for being here. So, Tag, got to go back a little bit. What would today's Tag tell the younger Tag of yesteryear?
Um, that it's okay to be who you are. Like, you don't have to try to prove who you are. You don't have to try to convince anyone of your power. It's funny because I think about this when I was in high school, my senior year. So usually, and I don't know how you guys with their high schools, you have a yearbook, and so they have like in our yearbook they had where like most popular, most talkative, most stylish, most this or that. And so I really should have got most stylish because I always could dress well in high school. But I was voted most quietest. And it bothered me because and I didn't and they thought it was just cute because and it's funny because me and the other the boy, so they had most quietest girl, most quietest boy, and the boy I still remember his name, Andrew. He was voted most quietest boy. Now, mind you, uh, he talked and I talked. I just didn't talk to people that I didn't want to talk to. But I wasn't like. It's interesting because people would take that as, oh, well, she's just completely shy. And I did have moments where I would be shy, but that really wasn't it. I've always been an observer. And mind you, my sister got sick my first year of high school. So I'm dealing with that too. So like whereas a lot of the kids were thinking about all these other things, I'm just thinking about, is my sister going to survive? So there was a lot going on that was deeper than that. And so being voted, the picture they had us pose, and we posed like back to back, and I had my finger over my mouth and he had his finger over his mouth, and that was the picture in the yearbook. And mind you, they thought it was cute, but I'm like, I'm not just a quiet person. I have a lot more depth than that. And so I just didn't like the labels. And so I feel like I would tell myself that who cares what people think? Just be yourself.
Well, I don't know what kind of labels you have now, but I think most people that have seen you that I know, it's always been positive stuff that's been said about Tag. You know, she's cool. Now, one thing I have heard, and I'm not gonna ask you to do it, but I heard you could sing. I'm not gonna ask you to do it, but I heard, matter of fact, back in the day, you sent Tyler Perry a song
Uh-huh.
for an audition. So you had to be able to sing because I'm not gonna send Tyler Perry a song talking about I can sing, you
Yeah.
know. So now with that being said, I heard you say earlier at the beginning of this, you learned in the choir, you know, and then you sung with the Master P choir.
Mhm.
So did singing come naturally, or was it the church background? What was it?
It was definitely the church background because my on my dad's side, the church we grew up in was my dad's older half sister,
Mm.
and so like all her kids could sing, and so we would go to choir practice and be listening to like my older cousins and my older cousin Florence. She just has a beautiful voice, still does. And she kind of inspired my older sister to sing, and so we would just be watching them sing and all that. And so just kind of naturally, I started singing with my sisters, and we would sing a cappella. And so we would take like a gospel song from like the Winans or whatever it might be and sing it a cappella and come up with the different harmonies and different things like that. And so it just kind of became a thing. And it's funny, my dad started calling us the three T's because he named, like, my oldest sister is Latanya, but we call her Tanya. Then my sister that passed away is Latasha, but we called her Tasha. And then I'm Talia, so he would call us the three T's. And it's funny because the Jacksons, they came out with the R&B group called the Three T's, and it's some of the nephews of like Michael Jackson. And we were like, they took our name. We had that name first before it ever showed up. Like, who are they? That's our name. But
Wow.
yeah, so like when we would sing in church and stuff, it would be like the Three T's. And so yeah,
Well, Tag,
and then
I
be
said I
supportive.
wasn't gonna ask. But it look like the audience is doing it for me. I mean, yeah, you do what you want to do. But first, let me say what's up, Fats and Tree. Who else came in here? Vicky. Vicky's a big supporter of all the Points Blank channels. So thank you for being here. We got LGG Love in the house.
Hey
Says hello,
guys,
Point
welcome
Blank.
in.
Now here's where the mess start. Miss Cheryl says, "Sing, baby." You know, and
I'll
then
sing. I
all
got
right,
you.
all right. Hey, boy, I just was hoping you say I ain't want to ask you to tell me no, I hurt my feelings. So we ain't got to worry about her saying hit a little something. Then your favorite couple who way over in France somewhere said, church background, give us an A and B selection from Tag. You know, and then hey, what he say? He said, don't make me get on the organ.
On the organ. Oh, you play the organ? Come on now.
Okay, so you gonna hit a note for us?
Oh yeah, I'll sing for y'all.
Okay, I'm
Let's
gonna
see.
give you the stage. I'm gonna be right here. I'm just gonna
Okay.
give you. Oh, you want me to stay up here with you? It's up to you.
Oh no, you're fine. You're fine. Either way.
No, you gotta have the spotlight, man. What I'm gonna be over here like the hype man or something? Go Tag, go Tag.
Oh no, you're fine. I'll sing a little bit of this. Speaking of gospel, I'll go to the gospel side. Let's see. There will be mountains that I will have to climb, and there will be battles that I will have to fight. But victory or defeat, it's up to me to decide. But how can I expect to win if I never try? I just can't give up now. I've come too far from where I started from. Nobody told me the road would be easy, and I don't believe he brought me this far to leave me.
Lord, I think that was an A, B, and C selection right there, man.
So yeah, CJ from CJ and Sharice, he didn't know that I sang my intro song because at the start of my video, there's a song, and it's who knew you'd be the one for me? Who knew you'd be the one for me? So like my intro song, that's me singing. And so people were like, that was you? Yeah, that was me.
Wow, man.
Thank you guys.
Your favorite couple told the truth.
Though I started in too high of a key.
Well, I don't know the keys, so you sounded good to me. I don't know none of the keys, but hey, you're right, Shelton. I'm gonna go ahead and say you're right, man. But that's why I took myself back off the stage. I was like, I gotta go.
Rod, you're on mute.
Is saying, oh man, great job. You did that.
I see you talking.
Y'all, I wasn't gonna ask her to sing because I've always heard it on CJ and Sharice.
Or is it just me that can't hear?
Huh? Oh, yeah, you can't. Yeah, I'm not muted.
Hold on.
I can hear you.
No, I can't hear you, Rod. I don't know what's going on. Let me see.
Hold up. Can you hear me now?
Hold on. That's weird. Let me try.
Hold up.
Are you getting any feedback?
You hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
I didn't. Well, it's an echo.
Hold up. Are you getting any feedback?
You hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
What I would recommend.
Hold on. I'm not hearing you on this one. 1 second. Did it cut out? One moment.
Hey, I'm gonna give Tag a second to work that out, man. Hey, y'all just heard it right here. I never know what the guests are gonna bring to Point Blank Experience, and I try my best to reach out to what I consider are the best. And I don't go by subscriber count, view count. I just go by talented, good-hearted people. And y'all, I mean, y'all see it here. I'm gonna make sure. I'm gonna see. Okay, can you hear me now, Ted?
Yes, I just had to switch it. I don't know. It was weird. It cut off the audio on.
Okay, I'll click.
Right, YFC.
Hey, yeah, YFC is hey, thank you, LGG. She said lovely interview. She sung herself into tape. Yeah, that's what I was thinking, man. Like, bro, she blew the mic up over there. She didn't drop the mic. YFC, she broke the mic, but that not in a bad way, man. Thank you so much. So I guess I can finally say after probably about 3+ years of knowing of Tag and seeing her in different live streams and stuff, I've heard her sing, and man, it was worth the wait. I'm just gonna say it was worth the wait. So
Thank you.
I'm looking at the time. I just want to be cognizant of the time, and I have so one of the things I noticed, boy, on your channel, you be cooking some food. You be cooking. But it always looked like you eating healthy. Like I could have not, correct me if I'm wrong. I thought I saw you get ready to put some strawberries or something in a skillet. Was I tripping?
Oh, I was making because you know how like you can take strawberries and turn it into like a syrup. In order to do that, you have to do it on the stove and then you let it cool. So like when you see like kind of strawberry jam and stuff like that, like it's kind of goes through that whole process. So
Gotcha.
yeah, I was making my own like homemade kind of strawberry jam.
So it looked like you could cook. Now, I mean, it's kind of hard not to, all the videos I saw, but what's your favorite thing to cook? I don't care if it's super healthy. I don't care if it's a tomato sandwich. Just, and I know that's not it because I like to watch your channel. But what's your favorite thing to cook?
Honestly, this might sound crazy, but anything new. Like I like trying to take stuff that I grew up eating, because I grew up in New Mexico, but my mom is from the South. My mom was born in Mississippi and grew up in Arkansas before her family migrated to Arkansas when she was like a preteen. So like, and my mom is the oldest of 10 kids by the same mother and father. So very country family. She grew up in the country. So like my mom is like cooks from just the heart, from the ancestors, as they say. And so, but with that, you start to realize as you get older, it's as delicious as it is, it's not always the healthiest. So what I like to think of stuff that I like and try to make it more healthy, just because I know I'm getting older and I don't want to have issues like high blood pressure and stuff like that. And so that's kind of where the trying to be more healthy and make more healthier options comes from. But no, I like to cook anything new. I like to try different recipes and just kind of go from there. But yeah, I would always watch my mom cook. And so I like to cook, especially like when my family comes in town and stuff like that, or if I'm home or stuff like that. But when I'm here by myself, I like to meal prep. And so I try to eat healthier.
Yeah, I saw a lot of meal prep.
Always. I go out to eat. Sometimes I'll just get something I like.
That's what I was going to ask. Do you prefer eating out or cooking? I think I think I may know, but
I prefer eating at home. I enjoy eating out for the social aspect of just being out with friends. But I prefer eating at home because I know what's in it. But that's because I grew up on home cooked meals. My mom cooked pretty much every day of the week except for the weekends. And then my dad also cooks very well because his mom could not cook. So he taught himself how to cook so that he could feed himself and his younger siblings. And so like my dad cooks very well too. So yeah.
Your father and I must be related because I grew up in Arkansas, and I know your mom was one that grew up in Arkansas. But I grew up in a small town. I'm familiar with the town. I've never been there where your mom grew up. And my mom, man, I think it was 6 of them. And it was 3 daughters and 3 guys, 3 boys, three girls. She must have missed cooking class because she couldn't cook. I mean, nothing. God rest her soul. But so to answer your question, Miss Cheryl, I can cook. I cannot bake. I am not mixing up milk, eggs, flour, look at it, stir it up, and put it in the oven and it turn into something totally different. I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
I'm not doing it. Now, I make a mean steak, pork chops, rice, chicken. I mean, I cheat with a rice cooker. I can't throw it in a pot of boiling water. It's not gonna come out right. But to hear, and there are a lot of men just watching YouTube that can really throw down when it comes to the kitchen. So, but I knew you were gonna say cooking at home because you have a lot of videos where you do that. You actually cook at home. So, all right, here. Let me see here. We only got a few more questions, Tag. I'm gonna ask the question that I always ask, and I should have asked it a little earlier, which is always the case. If you could meet one person here now or no longer with us, you've never met him before, celebrity or regular person, who would it be?
Ooh, that's a hard one. I have two.
Say that, man.
I'd say I have two.
All right, you have two. I'm letting people.
One who's dead and one who's alive.
One,
So
okay.
the one who's dead is Maya Angelou. I would have loved to meet her. I just feel like I would have just sat and listened and just soaked up all the knowledge and wisdom. I just think writer-wise, like because I like to write, and then she's just, I don't know, just her life story. There was a time period where she was mute.
Wow.
And she then later became this writing legend and just speaker and actress and all these things, kind of working her way out of the trauma. And so I would have loved to meet her. So she's probably number one. And then number two is who our politics can't keep out of their mouth, Michelle Obama.
Wow. And why Michelle?
I look at her and to me, that's like, because when I think of education and all that she accomplished, and even her husband, like they went to Ivy League schools that are, you have to be here to get in. There's no, like people will say the whole thing about you have to let a few Black people into this school or this or that, affirmative action. Like these were very smart people. Regardless of what skin tone they had, they were going to be successful. They just are very smart and intelligent people. Mm-hmm. And so I just admire her just educational career, and then just how she supported her husband and didn't hold him back. Because she did not want to be in politics. She didn't want him to go into politics before he even became president. She didn't want him to, but she knew that that was a calling that he had, and she supported that. And so just her journey as a mom and all those different things, I just have a lot of respect and how she responds to her family, her mother, her brother, how she talks about her father, all those different things. I just have a lot of respect for who she is as a person. And with all the horrible things that people say about her, she will not go there. And I'm like, go there. You deserve to go there. Like, you can say something back, Michelle. Say something back. Because people go low, real low. And she's always like, no, I'm not doing it.
And that really bothers me because, I mean, how long has he been out of office? And she's still the head of conversations, and I mean, let him live in peace, And I don't look up and see him on the TV all the time or trying to be in the spotlight. So I really don't get it. But
and nobody's perfect. Like I don't always agree with everything that she may say or he may say or whatever. Like that's a part of being human. But I just have a lot of respect for just who she is.
Now, it looked like at one point you were just making content after content after content. Then you slowed down. Was there a reason that you slowed down? Was it because of being put in a box or?
Yeah. Well, so it's funny because, like I said, and they didn't hear me say this, but I had a different channel before many years ago. But this is when I used to just watch like music content on YouTube. And that's why, like I had told CJ, I think in CJ and Sharice's live, I had mentioned that there's a singer now, Money Long. Her real name is Priscilla Renee. And so like back in that time, it was her and a bunch of other people that were just on YouTube making songs. And I was doing the same thing, just like making up songs, posting them on YouTube, doing things like that. And so it was kind of that generation of just making videos and just enjoying. And so that's all I was watching. I knew nothing about this whole mukbang thing, none of that. And so I don't know what made me get rid of that channel, but I ended up getting rid of the channel, which I regret that I did. If I say I have any regrets, that's probably a regret.
Yeah.
And another regret would be that I tore up all my journals. I used to write in these journals when I was in elementary school, and I tore them all up.
Oh man.
Pieces, and I hate that I did that. So I used to watch those channels, music channels, and then I got rid of that channel, and then I created this one just to watch like content, whatever it might be, music, videos, whatever. And so I was on YouTube one day, and up popped a Be Love video, and I know there's other content creators that have this same experience. She just popped up in my feed. So I'm like, who is this like sassy little lady like eating this seafood? And so I clicked on her channel, and I was just watching. I'm like, she's funny, like she's just like a bubbly and all this. And I just thought she was entertaining. So I would watch her from time to time. And then here came COVID, and she was like, if anybody wants to try YouTube, now's the time to do it. She was like, everybody's at home. Why don't you just try it? And I was like, I'm at home. Everybody's cooking meals. So I just started that. That's why I was cooking all the time. I was at home. So I was cooking stuff and just, I'll record it. Like there's nothing else to do. So that's what I started doing. And what's interesting is Coco TTV tagged me in a challenge. And it was a challenge that was from #TheCannons, I believe. And I did that challenge, and then I started seeing all these other mukbang people, and I'm like, who are these people? And I was like, okay. So I started watching these different people and content creators, and so I was like, oh, this is. And then all these challenges started coming. So like whenever CJ was talking about a class, like that was kind of like our class, because we were all kind of at the same time making videos. Then there's like Debo Vibes and all of those people. And so then Trey and Nene had their meet and greet in Atlanta. And so I, at the last minute, was like, I can make it. And they were like, we're out of tickets. And I sent an email, and I don't know if Trey and Nene remember this, but I sent an email to them and said, hey, I really want to make this meet and greet. Do you have any more space? And they were like, yeah, you can come. So I paid for my ticket, and I flew to Atlanta by myself, got a hotel room. And then I went to Tam's Table's meet and greet first. She had one the day before. And so I went there, and I saw Cuzzo and all of them. That's where I first met CJ and Sharice. I finally got to meet Debo. We had done a collab together, but I had never met him in person. And then there were other people there that we had kind of started communicating online, and everybody had been just trying to start their channels and stuff. And so that's how all of that kind of started. But then as COVID kind of died away and we started kind of going about, I was like, I don't know if I can keep up with this, like, and the challenges and stuff started dying down. And I'm like I really want to stay healthy and not get too, because I never did like massive amounts of food and stuff like that. Like I always kind of kept it just simple. And I'm like, I really don't want to go that route, even though it seems like that's what is going to get the views and stuff like that. But I'm like, I don't really want to do that. So I kind of got a bit overwhelmed, because I love to edit. I love to be creative, but I kind of got a bit overwhelmed, and I was like, I just don't want to do it. And so I just kind of was trying to find my way. So it just kind of died off for me a bit, just because like trying to do more of the healthier stuff, weren't getting the engagement.
It's amazing hearing some of those names. The first one you mentioned was Coco TTV, and I had the opportunity to meet her when you were traveling at the Dallas meetup in 2022.
Oh, yeah.
Debo Vibes, I was actually honored in the 2025 Meeting Eye Awards. I got the Debo Vibes Award. He went through breast cancer, it's publicly known. And I didn't even know Amwar Meat was going to do this. And I was in the hospital in 24. And the way he described it, I almost lost my life twice, which was true, or could have. So Debo vibes. Most of the people that were at that Trey and Nene meet I've had on the channel. I've had CJ and Sharice, Real Ralph and Mika Boo. Trey and Nene was supposed to be the last interview before they retired on this channel, and Life was Lifing. I think it was right around the time I went to the hospital. So just hearing those names, and you're right, man. The connections back then, and everyone was stuck in the house, and it seemed like it was more close knit then. And I mean, I've been around since the COVID era, and it's just different now. You hear a lot of the words like support, but it's not like it. I mean, people are still doing meet and greets. The garden community just had a few of them, and I can say that community is still holding on to those meet and greets and stuff. But that's going to lead me to my next question. Were there any content? Because you just named a couple, but if you only had to name, like, say, two, we know probably Be Love influenced you. But was there anyone on a smaller scale that just say, Tag, you have what it takes, keep going, or don't stop? Was there anyone that did that for you? And you don't have to call anybody out, because people get their feelings hurt if they're watching. They're probably not watching anyway, but we never know. So
I will say when Tam's Table was more active, and she's just has stopped, like she just backed away from YouTube, but she was building a pretty solid following. But she would send me messages here and there just with some tips and stuff like that on things to do. There's another couple, and I won't name their name, but they have a pretty big following. They weren't really mukbang channel. They had a variety, and they really kind of had taken off on like Instagram. But they saw like that I was trying to like come up with content and do videos, and they were like, him and his wife reached out to me because they were coming to Dallas, and so I met up with them, and we had a dinner, and they were just very like wise and just kind of saying how to navigate and stuff like that, and just staying out of like drama and stuff like that, which I'm not a person to get involved with drama anyway. But they were just giving me some sound advice based off of their experiences, and just kind of saying like, just be mindful of this and that when it comes to social media. And so I respect people like that, because it was off camera. It wasn't like they were trying to like say that they were influencing me or this or that. They were just wanting to connect with me and give like sound advice. And so those kind of things, and them having such a big following and just wanting to meet up with me and just kind of and we had a good time and just kind of enjoyed each other's company and talked a little bit about just the inner workings of social media and stuff like that. So I think just kind of those things were really good for me.
Have you ever had anyone recognize TAGforShort from YouTube and just run up to you, hey, Tag? Has that ever happened?
Not in this aspect. When I had my other channel and I was doing music, I had flown to Nashville. There was a TV show they were trying to come up with. It was for songwriters. And they were trying to make a show where songwriters were basically creating songs and trying to shop them out to like major artists. And so they were trying to develop the show. So they were doing auditions for songwriters. So I had flown to, this was probably 2010, 2011. I flew to Nashville and I like was meeting up with all these different songwriters, and I was in the airport getting a rental car, and my flight got deterred from flying into Nashville and had to stop in Memphis. And so I was like, oh no, I need to make it to Nashville. Like I have to be in there in the morning. So I was like, I had to get a rental car. Mind you, I had never been to Tennessee. So I had to get a rental car, and I was like, how do I get to Nashville? So I just like looked up how to get to Nashville and made my way. But when I was in the airport waiting for my rental car, someone was like calling my name. And at that time I used to call myself Songwriter T. And somebody was saying like, Songwriter T. And I'm like, who knows me in Memphis? Because that's the airport I was in to get the rental car. And she was like, I saw your video that you were coming for the audition, and me and my dad were getting ready to come because she was going to audition. And she recognized me from posting videos. And that's the only time that I've gotten like recognized from like that perspective, but not from like this TAGforShort channel. Not that I recall.
I was waiting on just asking for a friend. She's originally from Memphis, and she said Memphis is a wonderful place to get to be stuck. And I knew it was coming. I was like, if she's still in here, she's gonna say something. So, how do you feel that YouTube has changed in the last 3 years, or do you feel it's changed? Do you think it's still the same?
I just feel like there's so many people doing it all that it's hard to, like, you have to be very intentional to stay connected, because you could just be off in this direction, this direction, this direction, whatever it may be. Because interesting enough, like whenever I was more active with the mukbangs and challenges and stuff like that, I would watch a lot more mukbangs and stuff. But then I found myself not really interested in watching it. So like, honestly, when I'm watching YouTube now, I've become fascinated with like people who travel for a living, or like van lifers. There's this one girl, her name is Nomadic Introvert. She has a really big following, but she started off where she was military. She sold her home. She started traveling, and she got like a small like kind of van. It has like a shower and bed, like kitchen and all that stuff. But she also bought like a SUV that she travels in. And now she's been traveling overseas, and she documents, and she's so good at editing. And all those different things. So like, I like to watch things like that. But there's so much that you could watch on YouTube. And so it's just, I think now it's just, there's so much going on.
Man, you hit the nail on the head, because one of the things I think that's changed in the last 3 years, a couple, but for me personally, when I first started, I wanted to be in the spotlight.
Mm-hmm.
Now I don't care about I don't want to be in the spotlight. I want to be more behind the scenes, come on, do the content, help people, teach people, educate people, motivate people, and then I want to bounce. Back then, I'd go live just to go live and had no purpose of going live. I mean, I was just on the screen thinking of stuff to talk about. And you just said there's so much on YouTube. Now, before I get there, another thing I think has changed over the last 3 years is people. I had Miss T with the T on the channel last night. It took her 1 year and 8 months to do a live from her first video. It took me over a year. Mm-hmm. These content creators of the day will do a live 2 months after they start. They'll go live next week if they just start.
As possible, as soon as they can. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it wasn't like that when I first started. So I think that's pretty good. I like that because people, it's like they're more fearless now.
Yeah.
Now, another thing, the biggest thing, and you just said it, YouTube is so much going on. Do you think it's oversaturated now? Is that kind of?
I don't know that I would say it's oversaturated. I just think like everybody knows that they can do it. Like, and which I think is cool that some people are just like, I have a phone, I have a camera, and I'm just going to try it out. I think that's cool, because I feel like people were a bit more apprehensive before. They thought they had to have all this equipment and all these different things. So I just feel like people are more willing to just give it a try. So I wouldn't say that that's oversaturated, but I just think it's harder to stay focused in one area, because there's so much that you may want to participate, or you may find it harder to know what niche to stick to.
Totally agree. You know, I'm not going to say it because I don't want them to take my idea, because Rod said it, but I have my feelings about maybe the future of YouTube. But one thing I can say, there's a lot of talent out here. And I think social media is a place where people go to find talent. You don't have to go to Hollywood or New York or Miami. You know, people can these big companies can sit in an office and just scroll through YouTube and look at the subscriber count. So just asking for friends, I love van life, RV life, and tiny houses.
Yeah, I love all that.
The Nichols say, got to watch the replay to see
Hey, Nichols. Thank you.
Hey, Nichols, she just did like a selection A and B from church, and just, boy, man. And your favorite couple said it. I was almost about to break down. Now, Tag, I'm gonna leave it to one, two, three more questions. One of them is going to be extremely simple. I attended a recent live where I asked you to be on this show. Do you see more lives in your future? Because you did a wonderful job. I mean, I just think, like right now, you do wonderful on your videos, but I think you have live where people can interact with you. I just think you have so much to offer young men, young women, people my age, and I'm 56. I'm learning from you tonight. So, are we going to see more lives from you in the future?
I definitely want to get back to it. There was a series that I had started that this was a while back, but I was basically taking friend groups and bringing them on live, and we're talking about kind of their friendships, but also I was playing games with them and interacting with them so people could see. And so it was fun. I called it was Wind Down Wednesdays. I think someone else has a Wind Down Wednesday now. I don't know that I want to do that again, but an aspect of that was that I was showcasing like wines that were from like Black owned or Black sponsored, because sometimes some of the celebrities or singers, they may partner with another brand, they may not necessarily be. So if they were involved in any way, I was kind of showcasing their wine. But I just found that was a lot to keep up with every Wednesday, with everything with work and all that. And at that time I had moved into a traveling position where I was traveling and working with teachers in different states. And so it just became a lot to try to keep up with that, because I wasn't home consistently. And so I do want to get back to something that is kind of consistent that way, now that I am here more consistently.
Okay. Now I know there is 2 Wind Down Wednesdays, so it could be a third one. Who cares? I mean, I know 2 groups of people that do Wind Down Wednesday.
And I really want to, and honestly, I think the next thing for me that I want to get back to, and it's not even on my channel, there's a group of friends that I have out here that are creatives. And we had started a channel called Artificial Conversations, ART, and then it has official conversations. And we were interviewing local artists, and it was like any type of art, whether it was a chef, whether it was a painter, whether it was a drummer, a model, or any type of what would be considered art form. We were interviewing them to showcase talent throughout the DFW. And so that's something that we have been talking about getting back together to do. It kind of, with the 4 of us having different careers and different things, it kind of was hard to schedule wise. But that's something that was just like a blast that I enjoy doing too. So I definitely want to get my channel back going where it needs to go, but that's also the other part that I want to make sure we get back going.
Speaking of the DFW, do you ever frequent Deep Ellum? I think I've been there once, and I went to some club that Erykah Badu goes to all the time or something.
So Deep Ellum, it has my heart, but it also, I'm frustrated with the way that they aren't protecting that area, because I know so many musicians who make a living there, and when like DFW is a hub for musicians. I don't think people understand. Janet Jackson's music producer was from Dallas, like DeSoto area to be exact. And he passed away suddenly. I think it's been 2 years now. It's around there. Mm-hmm. But when they would be off tour, that Deep Ellum, that was a place where they would go and jam at different, like the Freeman is one specifically, where a lot of those musicians would go. And there's some other spots down there, but there's still like several musicians that play down there when they're not on tour. And there's a lot of people working for big names that are from this area. And that's like an area where they would go and do like live kind of jam sessions when they're off tour. But they just are letting crime go rampant, like rapid there. And I almost feel like it's intentional, because there's another area in Oak Cliff called Bishop Arts.
That's
And
where they had that incident recently, right?
yeah,
That
with the
apartment.
apartment. Yeah,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
Bishop Arts has like lounges and bars and like restaurants too, but they don't have the level of crime that Deep Ellum does. And I asked myself, I'm like, well, how is that? Because they're more protected. They keep it out. Um, I feel like a lot of the reason why that's happening in Deep Ellum is because they want those businesses to shut down, because there have been big corporate companies who have been trying to take control of Deep Ellum for years. And the only way they're going to do that is if some of those local owners close
Get
their
flushed
businesses.
out.
And I really feel like because Bishop Arts, that surrounding neighborhood, there is high crime, but Bishop Arts doesn't get nearly the crime that Deep Ellum does. Deep Ellum has surrounding areas that are very like high crime, but it's seeping into Deep Ellum. But I feel like if they can control that in Bishop Arts, they can control it in Deep Ellum. I just think they're just wanting those local businesses to close. And I can't prove it, but that's just my thought about it. But
Hmm.
it's disheartening because like even me, because I would go down a lot to go to the Freeman, and I even like performed there a couple of times like with friends and stuff like
Wow.
that. But I'm even apprehensive of going there now because they've had so much crime, and I'm like, I don't want to be caught in a crossfire because some kids decide to come and get in a fight and start shooting.
Mhm.
Because the Freeman, they haven't really had any issues, but they did about 3 years ago. There was a fight that took place outside, and the one of the security guys was trying to get people inside and got just caught in crossfire. And thankfully he lived, but that affected them just from an outside fight. And so uh, I wouldn't like if somebody's visiting, even though I know there's some great live bands and stuff, I would never take them down there because I'm like, you never know. Is it going to be safe that weekend? Is it going to not be safe? So I just wouldn't even risk it unless it's during the day because it seems to kind of pop off at night. But it's just sad because that place, especially when I moved here in 2015, like it's just a lot has even gotten worse since just then.
Yeah, I think I went probably around, I mean, 4 or 5 years ago. Now, Freeman, is that the one with two different sides of the club?
Yeah.
It's like, yeah,
Mhm.
okay, that's where I went. I went to Freeman then. Yeah, and it was a lot of people hanging outside. It just looked a little sketchy when I was there. I mean, too many wanderers, I guess. More people outside than was going in. But you're right. Dallas is a hub. I know. I think they used to live in Mansfield and they may have moved south. David and Tamala Mann are
Hmm.
in this
Yeah,
area.
they used to have a house in Mansfield, but I think too many people kept finding out where they lived and were showing up. There was some incident that happened and they had to move.
Wow. I know they used to go to a place off Matlock, the Jacket, and they would do stuff on Sundays, I think, recently.
Yeah, I think his son is involved in that. I think he's a part of the whole jacket kind of
Yeah,
business.
I know the primary owner there, whatever you call it, majority owner or whatever his name is. I mean, whatever the title is, I know his name. But anyway, last question, and it may be what you would have told yourself. What would you tell a young student? I'm gonna change this up a little bit. You had a student, and you're an elementary teacher, and you taught her in the 5th grade, and she comes back to you when she graduates high school. She said, "Hey, Miss Tag, I remember you from when I was a little girl, and I've always admired you. What advice would you give her going into adulthood?"
It's interesting because I had this happen, but it wasn't a girl, it was a boy. One of my students that I taught in 3rd grade when I was in Las Vegas found me on LinkedIn, and he's in his final year of college to be a computer engineer.
Mm.
And I was like, just the thought that he looked me up, first of all, like I haven't seen this kid. He was in 3rd grade, and now he's in his final year of college. And so just the fact that he looked me up, first of all, that was just um, exciting because as soon as I saw his name, I saw his little face. Like I remembered, like as soon as I saw his name, I could see his little face. And one of the things that I would say is to always stay true to who you are and work hard, no matter what, because the only person who can get you where you want to be is you. Yes, you'll need people along the way, but be consistent in who you are. I have not burned any bridges. So I can, like, if I were to ask some of my former employers from years and years ago for a reference letter, they would give it to me because I've been consistent in who I was. And if I left a situation, I left so respectfully. And so even just kind of staying true to who you are, standing up for who you are. If something doesn't feel right, pay attention to it, and stick with your gut. And that's kind of what I would say.
Man, to hear that story, and I didn't know it was going to be an actual. I just changed it up on the fly. I know. I always ask, what would a male tell a young man, or what would a female tell a young woman? And to hear that there was a young man from the third grade who reached out to you, but that's probably almost 15 years later,
Mm-hmm.
and that speaks volumes. And Tag, before I go into my closing words, do you have anything that you want to say to the people? Because I'm gonna tie that what was about to say into the closing comments that I have.
Yeah, I'll just say thank you for anyone who tuned in this evening. Even if you weren't able to comment, but were just listening in, or if anyone who listens in later, I appreciate you guys just kind of tuning in. It's always good to get to know people. I know I like to hear other people's stories, and you learn a lot about them. So I just appreciate it. And thank you, Rod, for inviting me to be a part of this. I think you do such a good job of doing your research and asking questions, and just opening up the door for us to share who we are as individual people. And so, yeah, thank you.
Thank you. That's 2 times you tried to make me cry. And I'm going to get out of here before we have a third time and I break down. But, oh, man, it took a long time to get you here. And that was me and my respect level for you. Sometimes when I ask people, I really don't know how, because they always had opportunity to say no. So I'm very thankful that you said yes, and I'm glad I built a platform where people are comfortable to come here. And I think I maybe been told no, not at the moment, or no totally flat out, maybe twice, and that means a lot to me. But tonight, I always say this, but we have truly witnessed greatness, and to have a young person who remembered you 15 years later, you had such an impact on his life that he reached out to you. That speaks volumes of not just the young lady, but the young person, the young individual that you are. And I'm glad that you had the woman's creative, where you didn't let people put you in a box. You believed in yourself enough where you were going to express yourself. I didn't even get into the part, and you mentioned, I think you're a songwriter. Everybody that was here, hopefully they'll see it on the replay. You're a singer, an educator, ready to travel the world. I mean, you're so talented, Tag. And I think that's why I try to do these and bring people here. So I don't broadcast to the world, but there's an opportunity for the world to see it with it being on YouTube. And I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for coming on and sharing your talents with the people that are here, the people that will watch the replay. And it's just been an honor. So
no, thank you so much. I think things like this are important, because even for me, I think sometimes we forget how blessed of a life we've had, even though we've all gone through challenges and losses. But when you have to tell your story, it's like, wow, I did some cool things. This has been a good life. It makes you count your blessings and be appreciative of the life you've had, even through the challenges. And so I think it's definitely a good thing that you have going on. And I would encourage anyone that you ask to say yes.
And I could tell you I had a reputation at one point. Oh, you try to make people cry. No, I don't. I just talk to people, because I used to watch more of the videos. Now I look at more of the titles. I may dig in a little bit, because I want to be just as surprised as the viewers if it's something that catch my attention. But that's one of the things about YouTube over the years that has irked me, is some of the things that people need to be watching. I can't control people. I can only control myself.
Yeah.
But having channels like credit, improving your credit, investing for your future, and then getting to know people, Keisha and I from Just Asking for a Friend, we have a show, Tanya, we have a show. We talk about topics that people are afraid to talk about just to get that exposure.
Yeah.
You know, it's not going to go away just because we don't talk about it. So I
Mhm.
appreciate it. And yeah, if anybody, if I reach out, like I tell you what, Miss Cheryl, I said in one live, I said, if anybody's interested in coming, and I even tried to make it tight, say anybody want to get in the hot seat, just reach out to me at Points Blank Experience on Instagram or Points Blank Travel on Gmail. And she did right away. And she said, hey, how do I do it? I said, just email me. She came on, she was the last interview, and it was phenomenal. So
Yeah.
you never know who can learn from you. There
Mhm.
has not been a live stream, especially an interview where I didn't learn something
Yeah.
from the guest or in the comments. So, y'all, we could close this out for another hour. And Tag said it best, man. You know, if you're here and above ground and you're moving around in your right mind and your right health, you're blessed. You know,
Mhm.
you may not think it because you may have a bill that's due or a bill that's past due, but coming from a person that was stuck in the hospital for 28 days, I said, once I get out of there, boy, I'm going to live life. And living life is not impressing people or showing off your money or
Yeah.
doing this. It's just, man, you ought to see. I go to the store and take 2 hours and I ain't bought nothing. I go to Kroger up the street sometimes, just sit on the
That's because
bench
you can.
and just look at the people because I'm just free
Yeah.
and mentally free and physically free. And I think that's what more people need to. Some of the stuff we can only do what we can control. Some of the things are out of our control. But if you believe, there's a being that can take care of that. So Tag, I'm gonna close us out with probably the song that I brought us in on. And it's like 3 minutes now. If you don't want to wait, you don't have to. I can tell you thank yous now, or uh, you can stay backstage. It's up to you. I'm not gonna leave us on the screen. I'm gonna put the thumbnail back up. So it's up to you.
Okay. Yeah. No, I'll just say thank you, and I'll watch from the outside. But yeah, thank
Okay.
you, and DFW people, like, let's get together.
Yeah, you know that. But here we go again. We about to extend this. So
It doesn't have
hey,
to be a formal meetup. It just, like, there's plenty of places to go here. I mean, I'm just saying.
I agree. You know, I know we had the Dallas meetup in 2022. It was supposed to be Anwar and Meet from Meet and Eyes, your favorite couple, Shelton and Key, myself, and a couple from Alabama. There was 7 people. It turned into 28 to 30 people from the DFW area. We had Coco and True came up from Georgia. No, they're in Georgia, Alabama.
They're in
This-
Alabama.
Alabama.
Mhm.
The Catrins came up from Georgia. We had so many people. So maybe Tag, we can talk out behind the scenes, maybe put some out there if you're in the DFW area and see how many people. I mean, even if it's 8 people, 10 people.
Mhm.
I'm like you. I don't want nothing formal. That's expensive. Let's do something small.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
with that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and close us out. Thank you so much. I know you're gonna be in the comments, and I'll be in touch if you need anything. I'm here.
Sounds good. Thank you, Rod.
Hey, thank you.
Bye, everybody.
All right, y'all. Man, this woman is amazing. That's all I could say. For everyone that's stayed here from beginning to end, I thank you. For everyone that had other things to do, please catch the replay. For the people that commented, thank you so much. This will be the last time I'll make this statement until it happens. Before I started, we were about 65 subscribers away from 1,000. And I want to shout out Just Asking for a Friend. For anyone out there that's talking about working hard and grinding, on Sunday, she dropped a video at 10 a.m. Sunday morning. She had 600 subscribers and needed a couple thousand to hit her watch hours. Last time I checked today, that video was at 20,000 views. She did one video. She got 1,000 subscribers. She went from 1,600 to 1,600. I've seen a lot on YouTube. I've met a lot of people. I've never, ever seen anything like that. 1,000 subscribers, 20,000 views, and the watch time in one video. And it was because of dedication, heart, perseverance, taking her time, and believing in herself. That's what we need to do more of. And with that being said, I'm going to Shout out the last couple people that are here. Hey, shout out to Big Murph. He was in here last night. He hit 1,000 subscribers today as well. Let me go back up here. This thing jumped on me. Great sit down. And there's I told her yesterday, I said, I'm going to start calling you 10K. I guess I got to change the name today. Now she's 20K. The bar should be 50K. But when you don't see this too much now, I told her a while back, I said, you know what? One thing that would make me happy when we created the classroom, if you got monetized, your channel get monetized before mine. And she did. She never said a word, never bragged. She just did it in silence. Progress is quiet sometimes, people. With that being said, Tag, thank you all for joining in. Appreciate it. Game Master, what it do, man? Thank you for being here. Tag said, that's awesome. Keisha, just asking for a friend. Big Merv, Mr. 1K, hey, Rod, and everyone in the chat. Thank you so much, Tag. Big Merv, congratulations on your 1K subs. Congratulations to all. And with that being said, I hope everyone have a blessed and prosperous evening. As I always say, please, please, please shoot for the moon. If you don't make it, you'll be amongst the stars. Let me break that down for you. When you try and you think you fail, there's no such thing as fail. Maybe you just didn't succeed. Now, you get up, you try again. As long as you don't stay down for the count, you have an opportunity. All right, y'all, and I'm going to close this out with a song that I wrote. It's the latest single off my music channel. I'm a semi-producer now and somewhat of a writer, and I'm using some AI to help your boy out. But actually, I write all the lyrics and compose the music. And we're going to get out of here. Let me put my thumbnail up before we do. Actually, I'll just start the song, then I'll put it out. So put it up. Much love, y'all. Peace. Thank you for being here. We'll see you next time on Point Blank Experience. I forgot to ask Tag. Tag, put it in the comments. If you're still here, was it an experience? If not, I'll reach out to you. I always ask that question. There's 2 times I forgot. Maybe I'll quit asking that. And let me get back over here and get ready to get off here. I got so much stuff over here. Maybe I do need a degree to be on YouTube. All right, y'all. Much love. We'll holler at y'all. I'm going to put this up here, and I'll put the name of the channel down in the comments. It is Soulful Southern Soundz with a Z. Soulful Southern Soundz. And the latest hit is Beside Me Still. And y'all have a good one, man. Much love. Still, now I can sing it. I better start it from the beginning. Let me